So what you're seeing basically is the students' artwork. They worked on this for about a month and a half, to be honest with you, from looking and analyzing primary sources from this region, and then to actually creating a draft of their art, and then their final piece, and then a creative writing piece that was done in class. And if they didn't finish, they got to do some homework. So I'm just going to go through briefly what this is. So we had a teaching artist in residence here at our school for 4 days, which was paid for by the Dobbs Ferry Foundation in our school district in order to have her be able to provide the artistic piece for us. Because obviously I'm not an artist by any means, because she's a teacher. So we need that piece too. And then Historic Hudson Valley provided the curriculum, which is very rich curriculum that really focuses on our local history. And the fact that all of our students go in 4th grade to Phillipsburg, this was a great tie-in where the kids can understand how slavery impacted our region, which kids usually think of the South with slavery, but not the North. So this was a great way for them to see how we participated in the institution of slavery. Okay, so that's that. So what you're seeing is basically the artwork that is actually based on local slave ads. Some are from New Jersey, some are Connecticut, and some are here in New York, so it's this region. A description of their artwork, because I wanted the kids to actually explain what they were trying to portray to us. We're not focusing on their actually writing process, but on them feeling what it was to actually run away and be property, which is an alien concept for them. So that was really the purpose of the artwork. So it's not about the conventions or the writing process, but can they place themselves in the shoe of a runaway and feel the emotion, see what they would have seen in the process of running away and the risk that it really was in that concept of property. So the kids looked at runaway slave ads. They looked at the primary source of the will, basically, of Phillipsburg, of Adolph Phillips, and they understood, okay, that who was at the top of the list, who was important in this list, to get that understanding of how valuable actually the slaves were as property compared to everything else on the will. So they looked at this, and then we moved on to actually choosing a primary source. The kids worked in groups to analyze primary sources, and then they were able to choose which slave ad they wanted to focus on to create their work of art. So that's what they did for us. And then they analyzed real works of art to kind of get an idea of how can they do this? How can they create a face of something that doesn't have one? So we looked at artists' work, we analyzed it and showed different ways in which we can take now this slave ad and create a story. And then we looked at student work in the past that did the same assignment so that they had something that students did. So we looked at real artists and then student artists. And then work that was done last year in New York City, so they can see, because we're the only school in Westchester doing this. So we looked at works that were done by students in New York City, so I can tell them, look, it doesn't have to be perfect. We all can be artists. You just have to try. So our kids did a great job, and you can see it at, at the array of art that's in this room, that they really tried their best to bring their stories to life. And so here, these are some examples of student work in New York City, and what you see now is their work based on this curriculum. And again, this was provided to us by Historic Hudson Valley, who graciously have allowed me to actually implement this curriculum, because I am the only one doing it here in Westchester, which is an honor, because this is our local history.